Greetings collectors and welcome to today's retro game review. Today we're heading back over to Japan to take a look at Toshinden S for the Sega Saturn. When it comes to 3D fighting games, we're spoilt for choice, but this wasn't always the case. Early successes such as Virtua Fighter and Tekken undoubtedly caught the interest of 32-bit gamers. Many tried to follow in their footsteps, and some even tried to compete with them head-on. Toshinden was one such fighting game series. Today we're taking a look at Toshinden S for the Japanese Sega Saturn. It's essentially a remixed version of the original Toshinden formula. English language versions are available, but I wanted that authentic Japanese experience for my playthrough. I've played numerous retro 3D fighting games, and it's a prospect that sometimes fills me with dread. After such monstrosities such as Fist, it's easy to be put off by the genre altogether. Unfortunately, I'm in the same mind when it comes to Toshinden S. As you can see, the game is graphically a bit of a mess. The 3D wireframes are a little bit bare, and quite a few of the arenas are also lacking in detail. The game is definitely a product of its time, where developers had big ambitions, but the craft of 3D fighting hadn't quite yet been mastered. Toshinden S starts well with a nice introduction sequence, and there is also a good range of playable characters. The overall appearance of the game has dated quite badly in places. Even at the time, Toshinden wasn't the best looking 3D fighter on the system. Sadly, the gameplay is also a little lackluster compared to its contemporaries. Attacks can feel a little slow, and overall there just isn't the feel of a well finished game here. Considering that this is the remixed version of the game, it's difficult to excuse some of the shortcomings here. It's a shame, as I feel that there was potential for this game. You only have to look at other weapons-based fighters, such as the Soul Calibur series, to find really great execution of the concept. Each character has a range of kicks, punches, grapples, and special moves. All of the right elements are here for a great weapons-based fighter. The actual combat though just left me a little underwhelmed, especially as earlier games were well on their way to perfecting these elements. The gameplay certainly isn't as bad as games like Fist, but it is bordering on being very mundane at times. Between rounds there are some nice cutscenes as the characters trade insults. The novelty will wear off after a while though. This is especially true if you're playing this original Japanese release. The Western dubbed edition of the game did manage to improve things a little here by injecting a little comedy into their voiceovers. In terms of packaging, the artwork is acceptable, as are the CD artwork and the manual presentation. There's really nothing to set Toshinden S apart from the crowd though in the presentation department. Sadly, this is a theme that just seems to envelop the game as a whole. It can be satisfying to take down an enemy or land that special move. Overall though, once you've been through the arcade mode once, there's very little to make you want to come back and do the same thing over and over again. There's just a much greater pull away to other games on the Sega Saturn such as Virtua Fighter, or even its rival on the PlayStation, Tekken. Usually I try and find the positives in my retro game collection. Toshinden S just leaves me with an empty feeling though. No matter how you look at the game, it just seems to fall short in the departments that really matter when it comes to enjoying a retro game. Thankfully, the game was able to ride out some of its earlier misfires and generate several sequels, which I'm pleased to say are far more fun to play. If you are in mind to put Toshinden S in your collection though, pay no more than £5 here in the UK. For a US edition of the remix, you should look to pay no more than $7. Whilst Toshinden S might not be the worst fighting game on the system, it was certainly one of the most forgettable. Until I reminded us all right now, so sorry about that. Now, I know I've been quite negative about Toshinden S today, and I also know that there are many gamers out there that really enjoy this one. Whilst I'm not personally a fan of Toshinden S, I can see the appeal if you have a certain nostalgia connected to playing this game. I'm sure I've reviewed many games positively on this channel already that many viewers just can't connect with due to the time gap. It may be a bit clunky and the environment's rather flat, but it did provide a stepping stone to the superior later games of the series. And for that, Toshinden S gives us an important lesson on how a series can evolve. Partly how I relate to retro video games is how they can stand up today. I still play many classics and they're as good as the day they were released. The truth of the matter is though, that even if you reskin Toshinden with next gen graphics and audio, there still wouldn't be enough gameplay to hold many gamers' attention. In terms of a fighting game, Toshinden just provides the bare bones of what you could recognise as a modern fighter. Toshinden S is definitely worth a look at though for those that are interested in earlier 3D fighting series. If you are a budding game designer yourself, it's also a great place to start to pick apart basic elements of building your own first 3D fighting game. Outside of the enthusiasts and collectors though, this title may be a bit of a hard sell. It's worth a look for the curious, but no more than that for most.
いつでもお相手するわよ。ありがとうございます。違います。あなたみたいな子がこんなところにいてはいけないわ。ここがどんなところか分かっているでしょ？はい。でも、私、行かなければならないんです。
Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!